Good morning, Rabbi Yisai. It's Purim in Yerushalayim right now. And I want to thank the Olam, every single person. First of all those who came yesterday, it was a tremendous Kiddush Hashem, full house. Today is even harder, and that's why there's less people here. A lot of hangovers. Thank you for all the Shalach Manas, for all the letters. Got some amazing Shalach Manas. I'm going to share with you soon a few of them. I'm not going to go through all of them. Noam is one of the nicest ones and one of the nicest letters. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to show it. Noam,
why are you telling us about it then?
I'm sharing. I could still read, but I don't want to embarrass.
Don't worry about it. Just tell us. Don't worry about
I'll tell you Brocho Prakim.
Tell us. Read it to us. We want all the words.
I'm so nichna to you. I'm your Talmud Muvuk.
Read it. Let's go. Read the letter. Come on.
Okay.
Come on.
Here's a few videos or voices. Here you go. From Barry Weber.
Simchas Pidem. Gewaldig. Shmaryahu.
And this is Baruch Levine and Waterbury.
In the middle.
In Waterbury. And this Rabbi Yisai is Shloimi Dex.
Heard of Rabbi Eli Stefansky, very famous Daf Yomi that he gives. And this boy next to me, Eli Victor,
he's wearing the MD White logo again.
Listens to his daf almost every day. Every day or almost every day? Every day. So we're going to do this the coming Purim for Rabbi Eli Stefansky, who's all the way around Mount Beit Shemesh. You ready? Good morning, Rabbi Side. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Another Gishmak to do that. Okay. And this brought a big smile to my face. Oh, the Chassan himself. Look at the simcha the Chassan has. The Chutin. The Shmer. Dr. Epstein himself bumped into Dr. Epstein at Purim Suda today. He thought I was you. That looks like me, Shtickle. I was recruiting. All the best. Phil Byrne and Dr. Epstein. Shkoyach. Dave Sharfman gave me this beautiful, beautiful Shalach Manas, and he wrote me a letter. I don't think I was going to read it. Should I not read it? Not a good idea. Maybe you should read it. You should get over here and read it. Okay. I'm putting up. Should I put it on the screen for a second? If anybody wants to pause it? No? No, okay. So we're going back there. Rabbi Yisai, this was my favorite costume by far. You're not going to believe this. Look at the detail and you'll be shocked. Here you go. That is Rav Turjaman, the Nazir, and Lit, the Nazir. Who is it? With the frock, with everything. That's Yoshi himself.
Which one?
Now it gets better. Yoshi himself gave me this Shalach Manas. There's one Shalach Manas I'm bringing here because you got to see the Shalach Manas. It's a one of a kind. Okay, came with. He's a Nazir. Now, what you have to understand is he made this by hand. He handcrafted this. And I opened it up today, this morning. It has grape, whatever you call them. It has chartzanim. It has wine, obviously. But the wine and all the stuff was tucked in a bunch of hair. I mean, the amount of detail on the bottom he wrote here. He literally made it. He told me he made it, but he engraved it in. Mesechtes Nazir MDY Tavshin Pei Gimel. Unbelievable. The amount. I was wondering why the drawings were a little schwach a few days before Purim.
I was wondering why his eyes are wearing a tefillin now.
All right, Givaldic. Let me plug this in for a second. I mean, the amount of the color on his face, the whole everything is unbelievable. I didn't recognize him. To tell you the truth, I didn't recognize, but I knew right away it was Turgeman. How do you get the color, the shape, the whole, the length, everything? Okay, Givaldic. You're Chaim Kanievsky. The reason why I'm bringing today is Chaim Kanievsky's Yaartzeyt, his first Yaartzeyt. And this person says that yesterday when I said it like a joke, he says Chaim Kanievsky says it as a real svara. He says in the Sefer Time of the Kra, Megillah Esther, where he asks your question, how can we say Roy Banav Talisa Laitz? And he gives your answer, we knocked off the sons' heads, so for the sons they're hanged, they were roiv, each one up on the tree. So the covet is Yaartzeyt. And I was thinking this morning, why do I miss Reb Chaim Kanievsky so much? I was going through it, and to me, he symbolized godless bisman hazeh. Like you could reach that kind of madrega, just holding in Torah, not knowing anything about the world, and knowing kol Torah kula bisman hazeh. I don't know who and where somebody will replace him, but he's very, very sorely missed. His first Yaartzeyt is Shom should have an aliyah. Jacob Locke, one more. First of all, thanks for the beautiful, the Purim instead of hanging around the house. This Purim, it says the subject is how this Purim was different than all others. This Purim, instead of hanging around the house, I decided to spend the day in the Beis Medrash catching up on Masechtas Brachos. I can finish Shas in time for the big siyum on the luxury yacht. I managed to consume 3 blad today, and I even managed to get someone to join the daf. So impressed that I prefer to spend my day with you in the Gemara. I'm already up to daf mem in brachas. In any case, my poem was calmer and happier. It's a gewaldic idea because people are complaining that the door didn't stop. Not a second did it stop. You go to Beis Medrash, you have all these excuses. You tell the wife, I got to learn. Not on Purim every day. That's a good idea. I have to learn. I have to do the daf. The kids have to go to sleep. You have to do the daf. But Purim, everybody's knocking on the door. You go to Beis Medrash. It's an Indian. There, guys, my point was calmer. I would recommend to everyone, besides doing the daf, if you missed out previously, spend an hour a night to try and catch up. I'm busy running a business, but won't go to work without doing the daf first, and won't go to sleep without doing at least another daf catch up. And this Purim, I made a siyum on Masechtas Megillah, thanks to Avi Kamiansky. Since he did the whole thing with the MDY kids, he was mechazik me and gave me the idea to finish Megillah. Then I came with him a sugar idea. It's most likely not going to work. I want to finish Masechtas Psachim before Pesach. You have to binge 4 daf a day. 4 daf a day. It's probably not going to happen because Friday, Shabbos. It's, at 1.5 speed, 1.75 speed. It's very, very doable. And you skip all the emails. I listen to myself. They were making so much fun of me yesterday. I was finishing Megillah, listening to this Magachir guy. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. It will change your life. Be well and continue success. Yaakov, you here? What are you, Taina? You want to do Psachim with me?
I want to finish Nazir.
You want to finish Nazir? You got to come up. If you want to finish Nazir, you got to come on Matzah Shabbos.
By this way, it doesn't look like we're finishing Nazir.
The Koil is sponsored by Anon Ymous from Lakewood. The second sponsor for the Koil is supporting Torah, strengthening our B'tochen. The Sechta is sponsored by Maaser. The Masechta is sponsored by Eli Nishmas, by Anon Ymous, Eli Nishmas Chaim Bas Yosef. The parents of Chodesh, Eli Nishmas Zechrya ben Moshe. Eli Nishmas Moshe ben Yehuda, he's a Holocaust survivor. By Anon Ymous from Flatbush. For continued, like a little hint. He's anonymous, but he gives us a little bit of a hint where now we know he's from Flatbush. For continued Brocho, Mazel, and clarity. By the Landy Family, Eli Nishmas Yisrael Chaim ben Yishai. Eli Nishmas Shmaryahu, Yosef, Chaim, Ben. Anybody know his father's name? Yaakov Yisrael, the Stipler, Rav Chaim Kanievsky. What? So Yaakov Yisrael.
What?
Yaakov Yisrael, let's look it up. Kehilus Yaakov. It's not Kehilus Yisrael. Maybe Yaakov Yisrael comes first. Yaakov Yisrael, the guy's right. Shmaryahu Yosef Chaim, ben Yaakov, Yisrael, Chaim, Kanievsky. He was a Gol Adar that was accepted upon everybody. Svardim and Chasidim, Litvish and non-Litvish, everybody. Nishmas Miriam ben Bas Tzvi, 14th of Yehуда, Adar, Steve, and Dovid Sichel. Both father and son MDY. Oh, there was an email from them. I saw it the other day. Okay, a different day. Charlie Zolty for Brocho VeHatzlacha in our endeavors. For some reason, I stopped seeing again. Okay. We're holding up Mem Dalet over the Aleph, Rabbi Yisrael, all the way in the top. And yesterday, as we finished off the sugya, that a kohen is allowed to be metamet to his sister, even if she's not complete, even if it's roiv binyan, meaning like most of her height, so it would be three of these bones. Two of these guys and one of these, two of these guys, one of these, because two of them alone is basically your height. So you need roiv, you need a little bit more than the whole thing, or 125 of these bones, because it's 248, so 125 would be roiv minyan. Or the skull. Oh, what does the skull look like here? Skull. Just for this, a kohen could be metama to his sister. If they found this, Rahman al-Islam, he could go and do a levaya. How do we know that from a pasuk? Says the Gemara top of Amud Aleph, Yachal leitam l'shidro l'gegoylos l'rebinyanoi. Maybe you cannot do this l'rebinyanoi shel acherim to the other relatives because the pasuk talks about a sister. Pasuk is very specific. Sister. Amres. What's so special about a sister? That he's responsible on her burial. Umetama, and therefore he could be metama l'shidra to her spine. Said also the spine is not necessarily just a spine. L'chayra means the spine, but also the ribs. I believe. The shidro, l'gilgailas, and the skull, l'rebinyana, most of her height, most of the count, afkol, all relatives. Shiguvi totally boy. Mitam l'shidro l'gilgailas l'rebinyanai l'roiv minyanai. So therefore, it's a question of Rav Chisda. If you take a look on the top words on Daf Yomi Beis, it says, according to Rav Chisda, that if the skull is missing from the entire body, a kohen is not mitame. Over here it says not like that. It says the Gemara, Ainami Rabbi Yehudi. So we have machlokes tanoim. You can't ask me a question from here on there. We have machlokes tanoim. Rav Domer Kaitano, the Sanya. Maaser Shemei Savash Rabbi Yitzchak. Rabbi Yitzchak was a kohen, and his father died. Beginza, very far away from where they lived in Eretz Yisrael. Above 3 years later, they came and told him the bad news. Now, what's significant here is the Shalish Shanim. Shalish Shanim would mean that the body is no longer intact. It's just a bunch of ashes or whatever it is. He asked the Chachamim, and they brought him the pasuk la'aviv bizman shu shalem v'lo bizman shu chaser.
What if his father was still shalem?
Then 100%.
Maybe he's the father of shalem.
Oh, that's what I said. Usually, yeah. Okay, but
Tana's father, Amuro, whatever his father.
They weren't. That wasn't the thing. They weren't. I mean, you could see it. In those days, also, it was very.
He went to look. He's 3 years away from him.
No, not 3 years away.
How
3
far
years
was the distance from the place he was?
I don't know the exact miles. It was far, but he heard the rumor 3 years later. Not 3 years. Yeah. I'm saying it was very normal in those days.
They start open the cabin, they see that the father's still shalom, and then he could do it.
Right, 100%.
I do.
Wow. Avi, were you waiting for that? Okay. How are you feeling, by the way? The whole Suda, I'm coughing at him. Fine. So,
he's looking at his phone anyways, doesn't matter.
The boys are playing.
Weiter. So, Daddy has no idea what's flying. He sees the fan. It's normal. Where was I? Oh, no, I was just saying that in those days it was common practice to put the body in a hole, let it decompose, then you take it out, put it in another place. They used to transfer, but over here they want you're allowed to transfer the body from Chutz La'aretz to Yisrael, and that was, could he do it himself? No, it's probably not Shalom. If he's Shalom, okay, it's a different story. Says the Eli Mishnah, sponsored by Mordechai Sapaznik, L'Zeich Nishmas, the Mechaber of the Badi Al-Shulchan, Rav Shraga Feivel, Cohen. Shloisha minin asurim ben Nazir. So as we know, when we said it many times, and the Mishnah is here, Nazir seem to be doing this to give us like not a chazara, to give us a background of what we already know, but to continue from there. What are the three things that a Nazir is asur in? Hatuma, vatiglachas, vayoytzim min hagefen. The three things: he's not allowed to be metamet to a mace, he's not allowed to take a haircut, and he can't eat anything that's grape derivative. Choymer betuma ubetiglachas mibiyoytzim min hagefen. So take a look at this for a second. Not oh, I didn't want to show that. Hold on, I have to go over here and get this. Okay, yeah, it was just okay. So basically, the Mishnah is saying a very, very simple thing, and the whole sugi all the way to the bottom over here is super, super simple. Tumah has something that's very chomer about it in red, and that is that if somebody who's a Nazir touches a dead person, he has to start all over again. So let's say he's supposed to be a Nazir for 6 years, and he goes to a funeral, even his father's funeral, he has to redo 6 years. Shaving the head has something very chomer to it. If you shave the head, you have to redo 30 days. But if you compare Tumah to Tiglachas, so Tumah is more chomer. Why? Because Tumah, I just did a little red on the bottom and green on the bottom. Because one compared to the other, the Tiglachas is easier. It's only a 30-day go back, where the Tumah you have to go back however long the Nazirus was. Now, drinking wine doesn't have this. If you drink wine, you don't go back anywhere. Although we said that midrabanan, you go back for as many days that you messed up, that's how many days you go back. So if you drink one Shabbos, you give one extra day. You drink all the Shabbosim of the year, so you did all the Shabbat, whatever it is. Pour it. But what's the chumrah? Each one has a chumrah. What's the chumrah that wine has that the other two don't have? You can never drink wine when you're a Nazir. So Rabbi Turjuman, for instance, Bizman Hazeh, he doesn't drink wine on Lela Seder. There's no heter. You can't say, oh, but it's Lela Seder. Yeah, it's Chaim and Dal Koises. No. There's no Kiddush, there's no Havdalah, nothing. He'll drink something else. He'll pretend that he's drinking wine. He drinks pomegranate wine. He thinks he's doing okay, whatever. But there's no heter. Tumah, there is a heter. What's the heter by Tumah? Meis mitzvah. What's the heter by Tiglachas? Mitzayra. Very good. Now the entire sugya, Rabbi Yisai, we never had anything like this. And it's interesting. The entire sugya is just going to ask 9 questions. And the answer is the same basically. But the question is, how come Tumah doesn't have what wine has? How come wine doesn't have how come when you drink wine, it doesn't break the entire Nazirus, just like Tumah? I can make a kavachomer. Look, wine is much worse, much stronger than Tumah. Why is wine stronger than Tumah if you drink wine? There's no heter in wine. You can never drink wine. Not for dalakot. So if it is so strong, you can never have a heter, so certainly you shouldn't, if you drink a cup of wine, it should break the whole Nazirus. You should have to start over. And for that, the Gemara is going to say, Exeris HaKos. And they're going to say, oh, Tiglachas is so strong, so there should never be a heter. Tumah is so strong, there should never be a heter. You should never be able to go to Meis Mitzvah. You should never be able to do Meis Mitzvah. Why? Because it's stronger and more chomer than wine. And wine never has a heter, right? Wine, you can never drink wine. So maybe you should never be able to go to a funeral, even if it's a Meis Mitzvah. basically 9 kavachaimers, one after another. It's the same exact thing over and over and over. And all the Gemara is going to say, well, you know why wine, there's no heter? Because it's a pasuk. You know why you can be soiser by a tumah? Because there's a pasuk. All the way at the end, there's 2 svaras, not psukim, but that's the whole sugya. Fine. Says the Mishnah. What's so chamer that wine doesn't have? They break it. And when you drink a cup of wine, you just continue on as if nothing happened. You're doing a 30-day Nazirus and you drink wine on day 15, you just do another 15 days. Midrabanan, you do 31 days. You do an extra day. Chaim, what's a chumrah that you have when you drink wine that you don't have the same thing by tumah and shaving? And by the way, here's a shaila. This has to do with a little bit of chazar, not too much. 4 daf chazara. In order to go back, if you shave, if a Nazir shaves, he has to go back 30 days. How much hair did he shave? No, how many hairs did he shave off his head? He says 1 hair. How many? 2. Anybody else? Anybody? We only learned it 4 days ago. Nobody, huh? I didn't think so. It's very sad. How come this thing's not working now? Okay. Omer Rav Chizda, Lilkois Ba'achas. That's what he said. Lakev B'shtayim. That's what he said. Listar, to start over, and you need to shave off 51% of your hair. Yeah. Huh? That's why people don't do Daf Yomi. But at least we know what steer is. We know what we remember. There was such a machlokes. They don't even remember. They don't even know what is the term. And we get to learn it in Olam Haba. So you learned it, you forgot about it. Here, let's repeat it. Let's talk about it. It's a little sad, no? It's 4 days ago. I had a story with the Belzer. The Koil, you mentioned the Belzer. I'm just going to say this over. There was a very yeshivish guy that came to my house on Purim, and he was making fun of whatever these guys that. So I said, well, why don't you ask them any shaila? He goes, okay, if I ask them a shaila anywhere in Shas, and they don't know the answer, how much money will you give? Whatever, he has a certain moiset. I said, if they don't know the answer, I'll give you 10,000 shekel. But the deal is, you have to ask the youngest guy, the 23-year-old. Don't ask the Belzer, he got the highest score in Eretz Yisrael, 23-year-old. So he asked him the shaila, and the guy knew it like that in a second. Volpa from the Koil. 23 years old. 20, huh? No, he started this, that, whatever. Yeah, weiter. 23 years old. He also scored like a 90-something on the 1200 thing now. 1400 daf, Gemara, Rashi, Taisus, 23 years old. He's in the Koil. If anybody still wants to give Matanas Tov Yoinim, Shusham Purim, we're still accepting for the Koil. Okay. Unbelievable. Yeah. So where are we? No, it was in Baba Kama. He asked him a question in Baba Kama, not in Nazir. He was sure. He was 100% sure that nobody's going to know. He pulled out a question. He says, it's impossible. I said, forget this bells and forget Eliyakim Aronov. Ask this 23-year-old. And I didn't even blink, he told him. He's like, no, but I meant the shark came in. Yeah, and that also. And he starts telling him, but Rav, and you were there, no? You weren't there? Okay. When it comes to wine, there's no heter at all to drink it, ever. But when it comes to tumah and shaving, there is a heter. B'tiglachas mitzvah. When there's a mitzvah and he has to shave because he's becoming tar, then you're allowed to shave. U'b'meis mitzvah, and when you find the body on the way and there's nobody else to bury him, then you could become tamei. B'chaymer b'tumah b'tiglachas. And now within the two, so we go back to, it is working. Okay, good. No, it is. Within the two, Tumah and Tiglachas, that both soiser, but Tumah is more chamer because it goes back more. The Chaim Tumah and Tiglachas, Tumah soiseres is a kol, v'chayavim aleh carbon, you have to bring a carbon. The Tiglachas ein soiseres, el shloishim, ve'ein chayavim aleh carbon. I'll tell you this, the secret is, and that's what the Gemara basically is going to say in the Sfar at the end, that the reason why you go back 30 days, it's not a punishment like by Tumah. The reason you go back 30 days is because it's a technical problem. You need 30 days growth of hair. It's more of a technical thing. Says the Gemara. Here it goes. So I don't know if this would help at all. I just wanted to point this out, that I found it interesting, that we were talking about a whole sugya about klal, prato klal, and ribu miyut, which is the 8 midos of Rabbi Shmuel of the 13 midos. Then we had the other day, a few days ago, we had the Tzad HaShava, which was klal number 8. And here is klal number 1. In Rabbi Shmuel, Rabbi Shleishas, and Midas Atar, and Jerusalem, these are the 13 ways to darshan the Torah. Kal v'chomer. I just did the red as the chomer, because in my chart it was the chomer and the kal. Okay. So we have kal v'chomers throughout Shas, but over here I thought it was very intense. 9 of them in a row, coming right after the sugi of Tzad HaShava and Klal Riv, so maybe there's something to it. Maybe we're going through all the Rabbi Shmuels, kind of. Ask the Gemara, why don't you say that if a person who's a Nazir should not become tamei ever, even if he finds a dead person that nobody can bury him, should learn it from wine. Umayayin she'ein soiser, going back to wine, to this chart. Umayayin she'ein soiser lo yutam miklaloi. Wine is very weak. Why is it very weak? Because if you drink wine, it does nothing to you Naziros. You don't have to start over. Yet it's so powerful that there's never a heter. You cannot drink Dalit Kaisis on Lela Seder. Tumah, Tumah that's much stronger. We're much more makbid. If a person becomes tamei, you have to start all over from the beginning. And it didn't. So certainly if you find a dead person in the street, you shouldn't become tamei. Gevaldike kasha. What's the answer, Rabbi Yisai? You shouldn't become tamei to your parents. You should. You're right, it's a great kavachomer. But there's a pasuk against it. As the Gemara VeYayin Yuta Miklaloi Kavachomer Metuma. I'm just saying, Rabbi Yisai, don't worry about all these words and all these kals and chomers. They're all the same. They're all simple. Don't let it get to you. VeYayin Yuta Miklaloi Kavachomer Metuma. So why, as the Gemara, you should be able to drink on Lela Seder. Why shouldn't you drink 4 cups of wine? Look at Tuma. Tuma she soiseres. Tumah is so chomer. Look at the red. It's so chomer. You have to start all over again. Yet we're very easy on you that if you find a dead person, you should become tamei u'ter miklala yain she'ein soiser. Wine that's very weak. That you don't go all the way back. You just continue forward. If you drink wine and it didn't, u'ter miklala, certainly you should be able to drink the wine on Lela Seder. Make kiddush on Shabbos with wine when you need to do a mitzvah. Oh makra, no, this is special executive sakaso. Miyayim v'sheichi yazer. Lesser, there's extra words there. It already says nothing from grapes. Why are you giving me the yayin and the sheikh and all these words? We went through this already. Lesser yayin mitzvah in rishus, that even when it's a big mitzvah, you're not permitted to drink it. As the Gemara yayin yistor sakol kavachomer metuma. How come when you drink a cup of wine, you don't go all the way back? Why do you get to go forwards as if nothing happened? Isn't it? Let's learn from Tumah. Tumah seems to be simple and light. If you find a dead person, you can get to bury him, so it's easy. Once in a while, you take a break from it. Nevertheless, but if you do, you have to start all over. Yain was so tough on you. We say you can never drink wine, not even the Leila Seder. Like Kolchkin Sheyistar, so certainly if you drink a cup of wine against the halacha, you should start all over again. What's the answer? There's a special pause by Yom HaRishonim Yiblu Kitomi Nizroi. Tumas Yiseres Ben Hayayin Soiser. It's okay. It says before in the pasuk. Vatiglachas Tistor Sakol Kavachayim Tuma. If you take a haircut, why do you only go back 30 days? Go back 6 years. Oh, so this is an interesting concept. If I take the Nazir and I put his hand on a dead body, what happens to me? I'm a bad guy. I force Rabbi Turjman to touch a dead person, not Rabbi Turjman, because he's a dead. Take a regular Nazir, put him on a dead body. Nothing. Lo yasu mitame, the guy that does it doesn't get any punishment, doesn't get malchus. Kimitame. Nevertheless, so he says it's a call. It's kind of easy we go easy here. In what way? The fact that somebody's mitame somebody else on purpose, and you're going to understand in a second what that means. Tiglachas. But if you look at a haircut, the barber is over. The barber gets malchus. That's why here in Eretz Yisrael they have like these organizations running around to barber to teach them the halachas of payas and how they shouldn't go close to the skin over here, etc. Because they're over. Right? Tiglachas shasu bo migalech kimizgaleach. Huh? They have a chayim, yeah. I don't think my barber has one, unfortunately. What? Usually has.
If you don't think they're
Erev Purim, he takes off the two dots. There's no shiloh. No? What type of haircuts come out of that place? All right. The guy giving the haircut gets malchus like the guy getting the haircut. And it didn't. So if you get a haircut, a Nazir gets a haircut, you should go back 6 years. Why only 30 days? Omar Krov, Ayomim Rishonim, Yiplu Kitami Nizroi. Tuma Siseres is a call, Ventiglachas Siseres is a call. Only Tuma goes all the way back and not a haircut. Vituma Naseba, Mitame Kimitame, Kavachim Tiglachas. Now another Kavachim, once we're talking about the guy doing it, the barber gets the same punishment as the Nazir. So if I'm a bad guy and I take the hand of a Nazir and I say, hey, you want to see something funny? I touch a dead person. I make his hand touch a dead person. So I should get punished also. A haircut is very easy. You only go back 30 days compared to the 6 years. The barber gets malchus. Tuma, she says a call in Shanasaba. So certainly, if I make the Nazir touch a dead person, I should get punished malchus on makra. It's exerzakasav. V'timer rosh nizroi, limitamer rosh nizroi. He himself made the tuma, not somebody else. Now we go the opposite. The barber shouldn't get a punishment at all. Why? We should learn it out. Once we know tuma, now we should learn out the barber from tuma. He shouldn't get a punishment. Uma tuma. She says, Hillel, it's not that easy. They can just look outside. I told you it's easy. You guys still look inside. Okay, fine. Uma tuma. She says, I call Yosu b'metamek imetamek. Glach shenis says, l'shloishim yoin. Like calls the barber. Why should he even get a punishment? You only go backwards 30 days, not 6 years. On makra, another. Says goes tar lo yavar roishoy, koribe lo yavar hu. Getting a haircut. There shouldn't be any heter at all. Now we're going back. We spoke about Tuma. Now we're talking about a haircut. Why should a Mitzayra be able to get a haircut? You should learn from wine. Why that he doesn't have to start over. Yet, he's not allowed to drink wine, even on Leila Seder. When you get a haircut, and you do have to go back 30 days, certainly a Mitzayra shouldn't be able to get a haircut. There should never be a heter to get a haircut. Omer Achmana, it says by the Mitzayra, Roy Shoy. Omer Achmana, Skanai. We have here, These are all the Kavachomers. You don't need to see it. It's wasting my time writing it. It's called Sa'aroi. It says Yigalach. It's called Sa'aroi. Everything. And then it goes and it says, we already had these psukim. Roishoi, Skanoi. Why the extra words? It says Kol Sa'aroi. All is here. That a Mitzayra comes to teach you that even Mitzayra who's a Nazir has to shave. As Gemara with the Gemara says, this is klal. Why does a guy that shaves the hair, why does he have to go back 30 days? He shouldn't have any days going back. It should be no worse than a guy that drinks wine. We should learn from wine. There's no heter at all. There's no drinking wine on Pesach. And you don't go backwards. It's easier. You could take a haircut when you're Mitzayra, and you didn't shleit this, you shouldn't go back at all. Says Gemara, yeah, but being in Gidol Sar, the bottom line is you need some hair here, and that's why it wasn't the thing. And why finally? What is it? I don't know. Number 9, number 8. Wine should go back 30 days. Before we were asking about wine should go back forever. Now I'm saying, okay, let at least wine. Why did you go back 30 days? Learn it out from a haircut. It's easy. You let it take your haircut when you're Mitzayra. So he says it goes back 30 days. And then she says certainly wine. This is beautiful. The whole point is that you need hair. But when you drink wine, you didn't get rid of your hair. So what's the point of going back 30 days? The whole point of going back 30 days when you take a haircut is because you took a haircut. See, you need a hair. But when you drink wine, you didn't take a haircut. That's just a cough from my flu. You didn't take a haircut. Seriously. I wasn't laughing. When you take a cup of wine, why should you go back 30 days? You don't need hair. You already have hair. Fine. Says the Mishnah. We're sponsored by Mordechai Zapaznik, L'zeich Nishmas, or Faivel Cohen. And we also turned to Daf Yomi Beis, sponsored by VeHatzlacha, for Ari Leib, Ben Eliza Simcha, Sheina Masha, and Eliza Simcha, Sheina Masha, Bad Brocho, VeHatzlacha. Magid cheer the members of the HBA Group and their families on Maine. Tiglachas Tuma Ketzad, how's it work? Hoyo Maaser B'Shlishi B'Shvi. Now, Nazir who becomes Tameh, he's no different than any human being that becomes Tameh. When a person, you write down, give out the board you made. A few of them, Shkoyach. Thanks for the gift and thanks for the other boards. Shkoyach. The Tiglachas of a Nazir is no different. If a Nazir becomes Tameh in the middle of his Nazirus, he has to go through the whole process of a regular human being that becomes Tameh. What's the process? You have to take Parah Duma water and sprinkle on you on the 3rd day and the 7th day. But over here, in addition to that, you also have to add this stuff. Yeah? A few korbanos, whatever. I don't know if this is the right thing, but you know what I'm talking about. You have to bring korbanos. So, he did the right hazaz, and he shaves, in addition to everything, because he's a Nazir, he has to shave his hair on the 7th day. Umaybe korbanos bashmini, and then the korbanos happen on the 8th day. Gilach bashmini. What if he didn't have a chance to be megaleach? Oh, here's the picture, the famous picture I like using from the Kol Shom book from Yuma. Here you see the pot in the background of the shlamim, and there's a special room that they used to shave his hair in. I don't know. What's the difference? His tummy can't go in there. I don't remember. L'chayr, this is tar. L'chayr, this is tar. V'mgila b'shmini maybe korbanos boy bayom. It was a stam l'saber soizer. V'mgila b'shmini, I said already about the korbanos with the lechem and all. It's different. V'mgila b'shmini, he shaved on the wrong day. Maybe korbanos boy bayom divrei Rekiva. So we have a machlokes here. Does he have to wait another day to bring his korbanos? He could do it on that day. Amalei b'tarfen. But what is the difference? Why could he bring his carbon that day? A Mitzayra is not allowed to bring his carbon that day. A Mitzayra always has to wait until the day after he shaves. So why could a Nazir bring his carbon according to you on that same day? Why bring me a raya from a Mitzayra? The Nazir is just a Tmei Mace. He has to wait 7 days. The haircut has nothing to do with anything for his Tahara. He could get a haircut, not get a haircut. He's still tar from his Tumah. But the Metzayra is different. Metzayra, in order for him to become tar, as the pasuk says, he has to shave. Maybe carbon of shemesh. So I want to show the oilam this thing real quickly. Going back to this, it's not really 100% for this, but what Yoshi added yesterday is what I wanted to add then, just to give the idea of Harav Shemesh. What does Harav Shemesh mean? Harav Shemesh means when the sun goes down, the Tvul Yoim, his status changes. What's a Tvul Yoim? Somebody who's Tameh goes to the mikvah. When he comes out of the mikvah, something happened, but not completely. He becomes less Tameh, but not 100% Tahar. So here, this is not what we're talking about. This is Stam. This is Yossi Klein touching Avatuma, and he becomes a Rishon. He touches the Sheretz. He goes from Avatuma, what comes below Avatuma, a Rishon. After Rishon comes a Sheni, a Shlishi, etc. Then he keeps on walking. He touches something that's tar. It becomes Tameh. That becomes a Sheni. Now, this is what I want just to emphasize here. He goes into the mikvah. That day he goes into the mikvah, and when he comes out of the mikvah, he's a Rishon, and he goes in. When he's a Rishon, he comes out as a Tvul Yoim. Now, Tvul Yoim, we said, he's a little bit Tameh, not a lot. So if he touches Chulin, nothing happens. But if he touches Truma, the Truma becomes a Shlishi. It's a little bit Tameh. Now he keeps on walking, he keeps on going. This is the point right here. He's a Tvul Yoim. He's going. It gets darker and darker. As it gets dark, he becomes tar. That's the Nakuda here. A Tvul Yoim by Harav Shemesh becomes tar. Kibla minei Eloi, kibla minei. Kibla minei Eloi. The Rebbe Tarfon agree to, what do? There's a lot of people waiting there. There's almost a minion by the door. You guys can make your own minion. I'm kidding. Let's just do until Amar Abaya, and then we'll have to figure out the rest. The Rebbe Tarfon agrees, says the Gemara. Rebbe Tarfon never agreed. How do I know? The Tani Hillel. Now, Hillel is not Hillel Azakin. Hillel, Shalom Aleichem, I forgot to say hello to you. What's your name? Mendy? From? Mendy Goldstein from here. Shalom Aleichem. Don't worry, nobody sees this. This is the end of the share, that's why I waited. Tashma Tani Hillel. Gilech Bashmini. Mevi Korbanose Bachi. So Hillel, who came much later than Hillel Azakin. In other words, Reb Tarfon saw this. This is in a Brisa. The Rosh on the side talks about this, because if Hillel brought in a Brisa comes much after a Mishnah. So he's Hillel based it on something. Why did Hillel say this Brisa? He based it on Reb Tarfon. If Reb Tarfon took back his Shita and said that you could bring the carbon that day that you go to the mikvah, why did the Brisa say that you have to bring it on the 9th? What?
They go to mikvah.
Oh, I said, yeah, mikvah. No. Took his haircut. We're talking about when he takes haircuts. Shkoya. Maybe going to raise a cheap. He's talking about people minay. Ladies going to raise a bishmini. Or marova loy kasha. Not a good kasha. Ha de tova b'shvi. Ha de tova b'shvi. In other words, don't bring me a raya from this. If he went to the mikvah on the 7th day and then he took a haircut, fine. But we're not talking about that he went to the mikvah. He went to the mikvah on the 8th. What happens when a person goes to the mikvah on the 8th? When did he become really tar? That night. So Mela, you have to wait until the 9th day. We don't know when he went to the mikvah. It doesn't say when he went to the mikvah. It says Rava, he went to the mikvah a day later. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day. Freilichen Shushan Purim.